What if I told you the most important test of your entire life is not at school, not at work, not even in your biggest public moment, but in the quiet instant when your last breath approaches? Paramahansa Yogananda gives a sobering yet deeply hopeful teaching. The entirety of a human life is the preparation for the final examination of death. He is not trying to frighten you, he is trying to awaken us. Because if death is a final examination, then life is not random, life is training, life is rehearsal. Every day, every choice, every desire we entertain, consciously or unconsciously, becomes preparation for that last moment. And then he says something striking. A man suddenly finding himself at death's door, review in a flash the thoughts and desires and habits of his entire life. Many people report that in a near death moment, they saw their life in a flash. Yogananda points to a spiritual law behind that experience. The mind, at the edge of leaving the body, doesn't suddenly become brand new. It becomes intensely concentrated. All the scattered thoughts of years compress into one strong current. And then he reveals the core idea. He is quickly invaded by one overwhelming feeling or desire. Think about that. At the end, you may not be able to choose what arises. The strongest pattern rises on its own, like a magnet pulling the mind in one direction. So the real question becomes, what are we practicing to feel most strongly? Because what rises at the end is not a random emotion, it's the signature of how we lived. Yogananda explains that this overwhelming feeling can be different for different people. One may feel predominantly guilty because of harmful actions. Another may feel predominantly worldly because life was absorbed only in material activities. Another may feel predominantly happy because of good deeds and a clean conscience. Let's make this practical. Imagine two people. The first person lived with constant tension, always arguing, always cheating, always hiding something, always hurting others for personal gain. Even if they appear successful outwardly, inside there is a quiet fear. What if I am found out? That fear becomes a habit. Guilt becomes a shadow following them. Now imagine the second person, not perfect, but sincere. They tried to be kind. They tried to correct mistakes. They asked forgiveness. They served others. They remembered God, even if only a little, through prayer, through devotion, through meditation. Their heart becomes lighter over time. Their conscience becomes clearer. When the final moment arrives, which mind will be peaceful? Which mind will be stormy? Yogananda's message is simple. Your dominant inner state at the end is built now. Then he goes even further. He says, whatever he's feeling, it is the determining cause that will lead him to a particular part of the astral worlds and then to another suitable incarnation on earth. Here, Yogananda is describing the journey of consciousness after death. In his teachings, death is not the end of awareness, it is a transition. The soul leaves the physical body and enters subtler realms. often called the astral worlds, where the mind and its tendencies still continue. And then, according to the inner desires and habits, the soul is drawn toward a new environment, a new learning, a new chapter, another incarnation on earth that matches what it still needs to work out. Whether we interpret this literally, spiritually, or symbolically, the lesson is powerful. We go where our consciousness is. We don't magically become holy at the last minute. We become more intensely what we already trained ourselves to be. So, what do you do with this teaching without becoming anxious? We use it as a loving alarm clock, because here is the good news. If life is preparation, then every day you can improve your readiness. Every day you can shift the weight of your inner tendencies. Let me share 3 practical ways to prepare, starting today. Practice small deaths of the ego every day. Every time you let go of anger instead of feeding it, every time you forgive instead of holding poison, every time you tell the truth instead of protecting an image, you are rehearsing for the final letting go. Second, clean your conscience before sleep. This is very important. Before you end the day, quietly review: where did I act from love today? And where did I act from fear? If you made a mistake, don't drown in guilt. Correct it, pray, resolve. A clean conscience is not perfection, it is sincerity plus effort. Third, meditate to change the deepest habit, restlessness, because at death the mind must detach from the body and the world. But if the mind has practiced stillness, if it knows the taste of inner peace, then that final transition is not terrifying. It becomes familiar. Meditation is not just for stress relief. In Yogananda's view, it is training consciousness for the ultimate passage. Now, there is one more beautiful way to see this. Yogananda is telling us your strongest desire is your compass. If your strongest desire is, I want more money, more attention, more control, then your consciousness naturally moves toward experiences that continue that craving. But if your strongest desire becomes, I want God, I want truth, I want divine peace, then even in the final moment, that desire lifts you upward like a flame rising naturally. So don't wait until the last day to decide what matters. Choose it today, because the final examination is not passed by memorizing spiritual words at the end. It is passed by building a spiritual inner nature little by little until peace becomes your habit, goodness becomes your instinct, and remembrance of God becomes your refuge. Tonight, before you sleep, whisper this simple prayer: Divine Mother, shape my desires, purify my habits, make my heart ready so that whenever my final moment comes, I may remember you. If this message touched you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a little peace today. Because every day we remember God, we prepare for the greatest moment of all. Jai Guru.